Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Circle of the World podcast, where we discuss Joe Abercrombie's First Law series. I am one of your hosts, Lord Chamberlain Jeffrey, and here are my co-hosts,
Lecter George,
and Harrison, the Adeptus Historical.
We complete our coverage of Sharp Ends, the next entry in Joe's catalog, and for this episode, we read through Made a Monster. So let's get started. All right, folks. As usual, we got to thank you all for your support, your continued dedication to the survival of this podcast against all odds. I mean, granted, and luckily, we do not depend on this for our to earn a living. So thank God. But we do this for the love of the game. I'll have you know, and we just want to
the goodness of our hearts.
Yes, we are so magnanimous to do this for thee, thy peasants.
Jeffrey, no.
The power is definitely not going to our heads.
We have gotten a lot of views lately. It's funny how at the beginning of Sharp Ends, we're not getting that many. Well, it is Sharp Ends, a lot of people haven't read this book, but at the end of it, we're getting some pretty high numbers, so we appreciate everybody very much.
Yeah, absolutely. We do love it. We appreciate it. The silent support, the silent majority, as it's known. Right? We want to thank you, and obviously, this is going to kind of mix in with the community interaction segment a little bit because we don't have really one. It's the end of the month for us. It's we're recording a couple episodes back to back. I am going to be traveling in a week, so that's why it's a lot of haphazardness. But I know you may think that we make a lot of false promises.
Jeffrey,
Now,
not the Trump speech.
Now, shut up. I will say, I do love false promises, but we shall make our return to our sphere of influence in terms of our Reddit posts and our videos. Harrison actually has a video due in 82 hours, I believe. So,
wait a minute.
a documentary that's supposed to have been completed about a year and a half ago, I think it's ready to be completed. So,
I have so many ideas, guys. It's just the time that kills it.
it's like having a family supposed to take up all your time or something. I don't get it. Jesus Christ. Anyway. But yeah, no. So we do really appreciate your support, as George and Harrison alluded to. We've seen an uptick in the numbers, which is great. Like I said, like Sharp Ends. It's
I think, Jeffrey, you're underestimating the power of friendship in this book.
Maybe I am. You might be right about that. You might. Sharp Ends is it's a fun collection of stories. We just didn't think it would kind of attract this level of readership or listenership, whatever the word is, audience, whatever. But anyway, let's move on, and we'll go on over to our next segment, which is our best meme of the week. Georgie boy, you already know that's you. Take it away.
This week we have Fairy Tones on Reddit, and he's just put up some, what I assume are just like some half-baked sort of sketches for memes, which are absolutely brilliant, and the title is just some offcuts. I'm not going to describe them all, but the one that I love is I think it's the goblin mode, fucking goblin wife meme, and it's just West is the normal one, and he's got Ladisler and Lord Smund on a leash, just like,
oh really? My favorite was the one where it's supposed to be Pharaoh and Logan, and it's like the fucking pink said no pickles.
I particularly like the one where Baez, Pharaoh, and Logan are taking a selfie, and Kwai is like, it's perfect. It's perfect.
It works so
got a
well.
perfect face.
Yeah, I do enjoy that, and you know what? It's really good the fact that somebody's put up something that they don't feel is complete, but it still contributes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
great.
good that sometimes you can chase perfection with these memes forever. I always discard shit that I don't think is very funny, but then half the time the memes that I make that I don't think are very funny are the ones that get the most attention on Reddit. So I don't know, one way or the other.
It's all about the belief in yourself. That's all it is. Gotta
You
believe
say
in
so,
yourself.
Jeff. So yeah, thank you very much for that fairy turns on Reddit. That was good.
That's right. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, folks. Here we go. The moment you've all been waiting for. The ultimate chapter read through of the ultimate chapter of Sharp Ends. This is Made a Monster, set in Carleon, the summer of 570.
Addendum is actually 565 that this takes place. This is the thing that always messes the timeline up.
Wait, what?
One,
Wait,
this is
wait. You already fucked up my intro. What do you mean
we've
it's addendum? What is this? What? Tell me. What?
Jeffrey. We talked about this so many
How
times.
many times have I been drunk when we talk about this? Go ahead and repeat yourself, sir.
At some point later on,
Mm-hmm.
Joe went back during an interview, and it was like directly, which he never has done before. It's like his only time he's ever like retconned something or actually directly talked about the lore. People are like, "How is it taking place in 570? 570? Whenever we know that Logan's running around a long time, like it doesn't. How is Calder so little?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah, that was something I completely missed. I meant to place it 5 years before, but mistakes are mistakes, so it is what it is." So
When does the blade itself start taking place? 575.
575. So this implies that only in the original print, it's only 5 years before. But in actuality, it's his one retcon ever. So we're gonna let him have it. He said
We're gonna,
565.
yeah, we're gonna let
Or
him have it just because, like, I
5
understand
years.
I understand the notion that Calder's too young, I guess maybe in this case.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think the retcon should have been Calder and Scale should have been older as opposed to the years being back, because I'm pretty sure from what we remember when we talked about when we read through Blade itself, you can read through it again. They haven't Logan and the dozen have not been roaming around for 10 years. Like 5 years is a
No,
long time alone by
you're
itself.
right. It's Jeffrey. We talked about it at the very beginning of Blade itself. So for
Yeah,
those who
I think
who have not remembered, so basically the events of Made a Monster happen, and then he's with them for roughly another 5. We don't know for sure exactly how long, but
it's been,
presumably another 5 years ish, maybe
has to
maybe a
be.
few years less. And because the
Mm.
reason why is because there has to have been a long enough time for him to see Calder either early puberty or before puberty grow into a man and being like, oh, he's a grown ass man now. He's still a prick though,
He's still
and for
prick.
him
Right,
and
right.
for him to have noticed that most importantly Shivers age. He's like, oh, he was just a boy, but clearly he's a big fucking dude. Like he's a fully grown man. He's probably at the youngest 17, but they said he was a boy before. So
Oh,
it
wait a
doesn't make.
minute. Wait a minute.
Mm.
The retcon might make sense because in before they're hanged, when Blacked Out, Dogman, and all them, they're like, that Shivers. They're like, it's been that long. Remember?
Yeah, it's been
Wow.
like probably 5 to 7 years. It's been a long time.
Well, yeah, actually, no, right. I think okay. Yeah, so we're still good then because 5 to 7 years is a long time, and puberty hits. I mean, Shivers at that time could have been 15. That's still a boy, right?
Yep,
You know,
yep.
and
And
I
whenever
know
Logan, yeah, and whenever Logan's 30, 35 ish, right?
35-ish at Blade itself.
Yes, but there's a couple of things I think that lines up with it.
Mm.
He basically says that he was with Bethel for 10 years. So you got to add a few years on, at least up to 5 years potentially for his age, which means that he started doing things with Bethod in his 20s, which would explain why he's like in his prime here, basically. He's like 25, which sounds
Yeah.
crazy, right? 'Cause we think of Logan as like this older style character, but he's really
Yeah.
not in this time. So he's like 25-ish, maybe a little bit older, maybe a little bit younger, because we know too that he's got his kids. He's had 2 kids, but they had kids younger back then. Obviously, they're
Right.
Northerners.
Right.
So he
Right.
could have
Right.
had kids as early as 14 years old. So basically, before George has an aneurysm hearing about this
Yeah.
fucking timeline,
George,
essentially
George, you want to chime in here, man? What's going
the
on?
retcon totally works.
Mm-hmm.
5 to 6 years. He's 17. That's enough time to be a warrior in the north. Beck joins the army at 15, which they say is too old.
He's
So
got a point.
I don't know.
He's got a
I
point.
reckon it's
No,
just
no. He's got a
it's a
point.
little bit. It's a bit trivial.
George
The
has
shivers,
got a-
the shivers thing does make a little bit more sense with the retcon, but still at the same time, 18, 19, there's plenty of time for somebody to grow into full bulk and height
Yeah.
as well.
Well, the thing is that Calder's like 21 in the blade itself, theoretically, which totally makes sense to me. And because Scale's like a year too older, right? He's like in his early 20s.
Scale is like 2 years older, I think, or a year and a
Yeah.
half.
But anyways, I think we're getting too much caught up in this. The
No, no,
facts are the
listen,
original prince is this. Joe said, "My bad. I meant to make it 5 years before," and then here we are.
well,
Take with that as you will.
folks, as you can see, this is a very important chapter in the lore of the First Law universe because we're talking about the addendum of retconning or not. What year did it take place? But folks, we all thought we saw the absolute worst of Logan in the original trilogy and in Red Country, and we might have, but this one is up there, and this is a fascinating look into how Logan was in the height of the Bloody Nine, where the songs were being spread about him throughout the North. When Bethod and his army, you could say his clan, whatever you want to say, was also spreading out through the North. Conquering lands, taking Holdfast and everything. And we actually get our first actual POV look as opposed to a retelling of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, who better to be our vehicle for this visual than Bethod?
A role reversal.
All snaps, folks. Sorry. We start this chapter off by Bethod being asked, "What peace, father?"
Peace, father.
and Bethod has to look down at Scale because Scale's the one that asked him this, and
Right.
he's thinking
What's
about it.
peace, father?
He's thinking about, and you know what? Not to go back to what our addendum talk was about, but Scale's the one that's 11, not Calder.
That's fine. I can fully imagine that Scale is a full-grown man at 11.
Scale probably is. Probably Scale's up to his daddy's nipples at this point. So, Bethel, he looks down at Scale and he's like, wow, 11 years old, and Scale has never known peace in his lifetime. Not that he's been in war, but just his life has not been.
Yeah,
it's always been marred by war.
With
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then as Bethod is struggling to answer this, he realizes that he doesn't even remember what peace feels like himself.
Oh.
And how long had Bethod been living in fear?
I just want to say as well, I think just right at the beginning here, I think Bethod is probably one of the most thoughtful of Joe's point of view characters.
Mm-hmm.
Because every other character is really focused on
me
and the future and what I have to do, specifically in this moment. Whereas
Yes.
Bethod is really he's very branching out on his thoughts.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, what the fuck is this all about? Look at my kids.
Yeah.
They're little shits, but I've got to make a good world for them.
And he thinks about this, you can tell that this is his thought process every day. This is the cycle his brain goes through.
Probably.
Which is, he sounds like a modern person, weirdly enough.
And I'd go so far to say he's probably the best dad in the First Law universe. Let's revisit that in a bit.
We'll get back to that other time.
But he kind of squats before Scale, and he thinks back to what his dad would say to him, right? And what his dad would say to him back then would be that some men will break a thing just because they can, but war must be a leader's last resort. If you fight a war, you've already lost. Right. So
Which is something we've heard. This is something we've heard Calder say in the Heroes.
Oh, that is right.
He says a lot of these quotes. He says actually, Calder says it, or Scale mentions it. They say these quotes inside the Heroes. Almost every single one of the ones that Bethon has.
I forgot about that, but okay. Well, look at you, Harrison. Love it. The Adeptus finally doing his goddamn job. Jesus Christ. You've ignored your duties for far too long.
What?
What?
Oh, I've missed that. I have missed that. So he tells him that peace is when the feuds are all settled and the blood debts are paid and everyone is content with how things are. More or less content anyway. Peace is when no one's fighting anymore. And I appreciate Bethod being full of shit here, because how do you say that the blood debts are paid? They're never paid, right? Once you start it, it just rolls downhill. It's never ending.
Yeah, it's one
Well,
of those things of human condition, isn't it? That there's always going to be scores to settle. There's always going to be grudges that somebody has against
Right.
somebody,
Right. Like,
and it's unfair to just say, "Oh, I have the upper hand now, so let's call it even."
right. It's like this. It's like, let's say I kill George, but George's son, right, is like, well,
Well,
now I gotta kill Jeff, right? And then when does it end? Who's right? Who's wrong? Right? So blood debts will never be paid, and I think Bethod knows that. I think he knows
well, it's
that.
interesting because I think that even if, because you said that, George, he does exactly that later on. He tells Rattleneck, "Listen, I keep all the land that I've stolen, basically, but we won't
Oh,
fight anymore."
right of conquest, buddy. No
He said,
stealing here.
oh
yeah,
yeah, we'll get onto that later.
yeah. So I'm just saying, I think that Bethod is not wrong in the sense of what peace is, you know,
Yeah.
but he also is not stupid. I think I do believe that's what he believes, and that is his goal,
Mm,
because that's what he tries to prove to himself that he can do
yeah. Maybe like he
in
wants
this
to believe
story.
it, and he wants to
Yeah,
like actually make it into reality.
reality.
I mean,
Yeah,
all of the leaders that we see. I mean, we see Monza, who is just completely practical,
yeah.
and we see like Giselle, who is completely ideological. Doesn't really understand the way things work, but he wants to make things right in the way that he feels is right.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Bethod that is sort of
Has it
halfway
all.
between. He's like, yeah, I understand that everything would be better if we weren't fighting and we could build, as he says to Scale and Calder here, you know, or at least Calder explains to Scale, we can build roads, we can build walls around our holdfast to keep the Shanker out, and
Mm-hmm.
we can live in peace. And Scale is just like, oh, I don't get it.
which which is great because Calder's like makes fun of him, and then Scale hits him, and Bethod goes in his head. He's like, ah, and then Scale hit Calder, which was showing the limits of intelligence, and then he hit Scale for hitting him, and he's like, which shows Scale's the limits of violence.
Very true. Very true. So yeah, and I like about this whole interaction with Bethod, Scale, and Calder is like when Bethod gives him the definition of peace and everything. I like how Scale's kind of just like, "Oh, who wins?" and then Calder has to be like, "Everyone, stupid." Right? And then the notion comes about where here's the hang up, right? Rattleneck, who's a well-known, a long-standing enemy of Bethod, is coming to, if not talk terms, they're at least parlay in some way. And he's here because he's going to be coming here because he wants a son. Oh, where's his son? Well, Logan Nine Fingers has him, and so he goes that Nine Fingers. He tells his wife at this time, who is Ursi, right? Ursi. And is Adeptus, please, let's continue doing your job. Is Ursi the mother of one of these kids?
Well,
Presumably, both of them. Maybe?
Presumably.
we
Rick.
know we
Both
know.
of
I
them.
think Bethod mentions in this chapter that
I'm sorry, George. I love you.
don't you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry because I need to hold Harrison accountable. You said both of them, but we know in this goddamn chapter. Oh, I'm saving this. I'm saving this. I am saving this, Harrison. You wait. You wait.
In this
No,
chapter,
no. George left. We waiting.
they have two different mothers, right?
Yes, they have mothers, different
Yeah,
mothers.
yes. I would say she's probably the mother of Calder.
We have to wait for George. We have to wait for George.
Okay. Yeah, you're out of control.
You're completely out of control. That's a Jim Brewer reference. I'm sorry. Where did George go? I hope. Oh, there he is. Okay. Oh,
I was
he's got
hoping
it.
you were done by now. Go ahead and do your thing.
Um. So okay, hold on. I just want to hold Harrison accountable because in this goddamn chapter, we know for a fact that Bethod says that Calder and Scale have two different mothers. So Harrison, explain yourself. Sorry, George.
Yeah, I don't have the actual hard copy of this book. I only listen to the audio book because I
Oh, you
couldn't find the
illiterate
version
bitch.
I wanted. I know. But yeah, no, they do have two different mothers. I always forget about that, which is great. By the way, I think that's the first time we. No. Calder mentions it in the Heroes too. I think. But presumably she's the mother of Calder, seeing as he's the younger one and he's with
Mm.
her. And also Bethod was definitely he definitely had game when he was younger, so he probably had scale, was like, oh shit, I need to get my life together, and then found a good woman
Mm.
like her. And also she's clever. So
She is smart.
very
She is smart. So he does talk to Scale and Calder about the fact that Rattleneck's son is with Nine Fingers, and they're like, "Well, make Nine Fingers give him to him," because Bethod had said, um, that I'm going to, he will give him to me, and then Calder goes, "Well, order him to do it, make him do it," and Bethod kind of gives us a little bit more illumination into the, I guess we could say the dynamics, the norms of the North, right? Where a chief cannot force one of his
Yeah,
followers.
there's prisoners' rights. So if you
Mm,
particularly beat somebody in a duel, that person is bound to you. It's
mhm.
nothing to do with hierarchy.
Yeah, yeah, and so and he explains to them that if he was to try to just straight up force Logan to give the son over to Bethod, that Bethod would be breaking all the rules, and if he breaks all the rules, then who would follow him, right? Because a lot of time it's like that whole like Song of Ice and Fire thing about like where does power reside, right? Kind of,
Which is
right?
funny considering he goes on to break all the rules. Like,
He actually,
you know, digging up her team and out the hill and recruiting the Shanker and all that.
well,
okay.
I'll get to that. I'll
Yes,
get to
can we
that.
get can we get to that at the end of this? Yes, I have thoughts about this too. But so basically, Bethod, we can see that Bethod has to talk to Logan about getting Rattleneck's son from his grasp in a way where it's uh, we could say abiding by the norms of the North, in one piece, right? To and try to negotiate Rattleneck because we see the far-reaching vision that Bethod has. He thinks about a grand main road between Ufrith and Carleon, and from
Mhm.
there plowing the land, and expanding the scope of trade
He wants to
and
modernize.
yes, he wants to modernize the North because, as we know, as we talked about when we were covering the original trilogy, what are our historical, like what would you say,
I'd
mirrors?
say that the North is probably most similar to like Anglo-Saxon England, where you have like multiple war chiefs that all
Mhm.
move around. They don't really have a base necessarily. I mean,
Painted round
you might
shield.
have a king who
Yeah,
also travels around, but there's no like infrastructure or like government or anything to speak of.
right. And you would say the Union is more akin to
I'd say that the Union is more akin to way later, like almost late Middle Ages. You know, they've got
Middle Ages. What, like France, like
I'd say
Italy?
probably England as well. You know, they have.
England can't have everything, buddy. Give me
Uh,
another country.
well, considering
I'll say
you know
Germany. I'll say Germany.
the late Holy Roman Empire, then go on.
Okay, love it. And then give me the Gurkish. Give me a historical counterpart there.
The Gurkhas is obviously the Ottoman Empire.
Or
Racist. You
or
racist.
or they're more like, we talked about this too. They're very Persian inspired as well in
Oh
terms of
yeah.
unification and they have this faith and how they govern. They have like
Oh
satraps
wait,
kind of
actually,
as
no. Now I think about it, I think he's right about the Ottomans.
Yeah, no, that is completely.
That's
it's
yeah.
the
I kind of read more about the Muslim conquest of obviously like how it grew about from Muhammad and everything. And I was like, oh
I mean, yeah,
yeah,
you could talk about the Abbasids or the Umayyads or the Seljuks or whatever. You know,
yeah,
it's all a
yeah,
very similar sort of thing. The same way that everything is,
yeah, absolutely,
empires come and go, but they generally resemble what came before.
absolutely,
Which
and
is what it is in the South as well. The South is just like an internal like cycle of slavery where somebody rises and yeah. Anyway, yeah, go on.
yes, great point. Great point.
and I like how Bethod explains to his kids what taxes are. They're like, what? And they're like, that's a southern thing. But there's a grand scale in terms of Bethod's vision. So as he sends Calder and Scale out, it's him and Ursi, and Ursi she sidles up to him, gives him a nice little hug from behind, and she's like, "So, love you, babes. I love you. But and I know like Rattleneck's coming here to get his son, and everything seems to be fine. But the issue is like you got to get him from like Logan, and let's not forget that Logan is known as Nine Fingers, also known AKA FKA the Bloody Nine. He's also a psychopath. So like, how long can you trust him? He's kind of a psycho. He's kind of a crazy man, bloodlust, bloodthirsty, all that. So what are we gonna do
Which
here?
I like that she gives like good proper advice, and to be honest, in
She
this moment
does.
in
She gives
time, she
credible.
cuts she cuts right through the heart of it, and she goes, "Here's your problem. He's the problem. You need to resolve that." And he is 100% right. And honestly, he handles it. He handles it wrong. So
But and the crazy thing is like so she goes. They've that they found a different kind of leader in you, Bethod. And he goes, yeah, well, I made them listen. I will make Rattleneck listen. I will make Nine Fingers listen too. Although Bethod wondered whether it was his wife or himself he was trying to convince. Logan can be a reasonable man. And then Ursi goes, perhaps he used to be, but he is blood drunk, murder proud. Every day he is less your friend, less to be trusted, less a man at all, and more an animal. Every day he is less Logan and more the Bloody Nine.
And it's interesting to read this when you first get into this chapter. You haven't read it before, and you don't know what's going to happen, and you know the character of Logan, even though we know from what Bethel says in Last Argument of Kings, when it comes to that confrontation, Logan goes, "Yeah, it was my fault." But we'd never really see like the full extent of it. When you read this, and she says he killed a full flock of sheep with his bare hands because the bleeding bothered him, and then
And he,
slept with the corpses, and it's just like, oh.
yeah, you're like Bethod. You're like, yeah, good point.
and I was literally gonna. Thank you, George, for saying that. Thank you, because that is a wild thing. Like the bleeding bothers him, so he just goes to the pen. I imagine just.
He murders them all.
I imagine he just softly, just like he's probably hugging them or whatever, and just chokes them slowly to death, one by one, to the point where
I'm gonna
she
say
says,
it's not easy to
says,
kill a sheep with your bare hands. I've never
"It's
tried it,
not,
but
it's not," and apparently he does it so calmly the others didn't even stir. And then this is where I do hate Logan, right here. And when the sheepdog barked, he crushed her head. So Logan could get fucking, I, he could get castrated for all I care about.
I just find this
Sheep
so
and
funny because
people,
as well,
whatever. Dogs, I draw the line. Mm-mm.
but like I say, so many people love Logan, even though that he admitted to worse things than this to
Yeah.
Malachus Quiet in the first few chapters, you
Uh-huh.
know.
But he seems like he's on the mend, right?
But because now
that's the idea.
that's the idea, isn't it? But now that you see it and it's right up in your face, and
Exactly that.
go wow.
Continue. Continue. I thought you were going on a train there, George.
No, that was it. I'm finished.
Oh, shit.
I'm finished.
So obviously, Ursi is pointing out the very obvious issues here with Logan, but we see Bethog trying to convince himself. He's like, "Well, he can be a reasonable man at times. I mean, come on, it's my boy." and and she goes, "Like, she goes, if you can create peace between the clans, well, what about him? What about Logan? What is this a man built for peace at this point? Is this a man that you say there's peace and then what? He's just gonna retire? Is he gonna be a baker? Like, what's he gonna do?" So she's urging him to kind of see the reality in the end game of the situation. And here's the thing: there is a part of him that is like, I don't know what to do because I love the guy. I'm also scared shitless of the guy. And if I even try to have the guy killed, what if I fail? Right? That's terrifying. So, and I love this part where because he's sick of like all the fighting. And you could tell he does mean it, which I think does lend credence to his mindset at the original trilogy. Which I know I have things to talk about at the end of this chapter. Harrison, you said that too.
Yeah.
But he's sick of the blood, right? But he goes like that. He knows that he. She says you never looked for blood, but he goes, ha. But yeah, he did. He demanded it, but not this much. He never thought it could be this much. But that's the trouble with it. Wounds are easy to open, so difficult to close. And he
What a
opened
lie.
them. Yeah, and he opened them eagerly. He needed a man. I needed a man to fight for me. I needed a man who'd stop at nothing. I needed a monster. Ursi says, and you found one. And he goes, no, I made one. That
Such a
right,
good line.
right there, that could be the mic drop at the end of a fucking chapter. But then
Yeah,
we go ahead.
I like this. This chapter we see with Logan, like his characterization. I think it's always important to remember that like Logan had a family. He was a super young man. He got a taste of battle. He was good at it. Went back to help his family. They were all dead. What does he have now? Violence, And we talked about this one or two times, but what we see him at here is, morally speaking, his absolute lowest. I would say maybe not his lowest. He could be, he actually it's implied that he gets worse. Um, but he's really just a traumatized, fucked up man.
I mean, you could just skip it over a few bits that we're going to talk about later. But we know that Blacked Out he hasn't fought Blacked Out yet.
Right, that's true. We'll talk about that. So there's that. There's that.
But
too.
he has fought Three Trees, so we could assume that Tuldaru and Grim and maybe Follow the Weakest as well.
Maybe
there.
Forley. Maybe
or
Forley.
maybe
Or
not
maybe
Grim.
there are others that died and they never talked about.
That's true. It's true. It's true. It's not said for sure. But anyways, you were saying.
Yeah. And so there's a break, and then we see that Bethon is walking towards Logan's tent. And who does he have with him guarding his back? None other than Kerndon Craw, folks. The straight edge of straight edges. This man
I like the fact that we get to see this as well. Like we see this so, but we heard it talk about, at least in the Heroes, that Craw is like Bethod's like right hand man. So now we actually get to see it because we never did before.
We get to see it, but you know what's so funny about this chapter too is that he had just somehow came into connection with Kerndon at this time. Like prior to that, he didn't have him. Because he makes a note like, yeah, this guy really is a straight edge kind of loyal kind of dude.
He does say that, yeah.
So he's walking through the yard with Kerndon at his side, and he's walking towards Logan's tent. And Logan's tent, just coincidentally, just happens to be very far away from everybody's tent because they're in the holdfast of, I forget where, Harum. I don't fucking remember. We'll see it when we get to this page. But anyway.
No, they're in Carleon, man.
No,
they're not. They're in a hold.
They're not. They're in a different holdfast. Oh wait, no, duh. I'm not wrong. I mean, Harrison's not wrong. They are in Carleon. It says it in the beginning of the chapter. Carleon 570. That's
oh, of course, shit.
I guess Bethel just took Carleon away from the holdfast or whatever.
Yes, he did. In fact, they said Rattleneck a little bit later says just last winter this was owned by somebody. This is owned by some other guy.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was thinking. I forgot it was Carleon. Sorry, my bad.
And crazily enough, Logan earns his name inside of Carleon. So he's actually just now, well, presumably earned his name in Carleon. It doesn't make sense for him not to have had that, but because he loses his finger in the battle, remember?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so it doesn't make sense for him not to have earned his name until this battle. But it does actually make sense canonically. Because now for, 6 months or whatever, Logan is hyped up. He's got his name. Everybody's like, oh yeah, you got Logan 9 figures. Oh, is that same guy who killed all those people? And blah, 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 blah. Wasn't he at the Siege of Carleon? So it makes sense in terms of the hype in this moment for Logan. So anyways, back to what you're saying.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. No, thank you for that, Harrison. Thank you. So he makes it to Logan's tent. And Logan's tent is kind of guarded by none other than the Dogman. I was like, oh, nice. And Beth thought
it's really sad to see the dog, because everybody loves the Dogman. Dogman, from his own perspective, can't do a single wrong, right? He's just a nice guy all around. Like, doesn't have a bad bone in his body. But when we see him being the first to the bloody
The
nine,
dog.
being like Bethod says, like the most loyal lapdog you could ever see. It's like, oh.
Yeah, and you know what?
That takes on a whole other meaning now.
Yeah, and George, you know what? To that point where you just said, I mean, there's something in there because he goes, Betha goes, he feels pity for Dogman because he to himself he says, oh, I'm bound real tight to Nine Fingers. That is my champion. Surely, obviously, clearly, but nowhere near as tight as this poor fool. And so you think about it. That means, we think about it. Dogman came with Logan over the high places, right? That's what it
Yep.
was. So he saw Logan, if not at the time when Logan murdered his childhood best friend, wink, wink, or whatever, and stabbed his dad when he was 15. What the fuck?
Well, we don't exactly know the background between the Dogman and Logan. We don't know why Dogman came over the mountains with him in the first place.
They must have been. He must have been his second childhood best friend, just the one that Logan didn't push off.
Yeah, the one who survived. Yeah.
The one who survived.
This
That's so
man
funny.
is. Can you imagine? Like, how do I talk about this in a way that's respectful or sensitive? Dogman literally
He's a
is
little
attacked-
bitch.
No. But that's like Dogman and Logan. They're boys, and Dogman
Yeah.
loves Logan, and Logan loves
He
Dogman.
does. He does.
And it's almost as like Dogman can't quit Logan.
Yep.
If Logan didn't leave via Black Dow and everything, if he didn't leave at the end of the original trilogy, Dogman would still be at his side, despite everything that happened by the end of the original trilogy. I know that for a fact. Dogman would not have quit.
I mean, Dogman was literally still loyal, even though that he had words with him. You know, it's like, oh,
Yep.
did you kill Toll? Did you kill that kid? Etc. Etc.
And he's like,
But
I
he's
don't
still
know,
like,
maybe
yeah,
I
but
could-
I'm still gonna be your emissary for the
Yep.
North. I'm still gonna do what you say.
Yeah.
I think it's important to remember that, like, he says they grew up together. They came across mountains together. They presumably from the same village. All the pain and suffering that they probably both went through bonded them very closely together. And it made it to the point that, he could only see him as that brother who suffered so much and he felt bad for him rather than just a bad man. And because of that, so I think it's important to remember that the Dogman loves him. I think you're totally right, Jeff. He loves him like a brother. And yes, it's kind of sad, and it's like he doesn't see this, but it's also super understandable for Dogman, right? His biggest sin is the fact he didn't notice that Logan was a monster beforehand. But would any of us three think that each other were a monster if we started doing some horrendous actions right off the bat? I know it's been some time.
Hell no,
But-
I'd support you in your genocide.
Exactly. We're wait a minute.
I
You
think,
almost got me,
it's
Jeffrey.
it's the frog in the pot situation, isn't it? Like if things
Mhm.
slowly graduate over time, and to be fair, they come from a very fucking savage society in the first
Right.
place, where killing somebody isn't necessarily a big deal. So
Yes,
you've got to
we
consider
can't
that.
we can't engage in presentism, right? Like applying our modern values and morals.
Yes.
Something like no, absolutely, I agree.
But yeah, you know what I mean. Like the savagery that we get from Logan later in this chapter. I mean, Dogman has obviously seen things like that before on the battlefield or in the circle. But yeah, it is sad, especially because you can see it in his face as well. Like,
Mhm.
well, at least
Yeah.
we can see what Bethel sees in his face. Like he just kind of looks a bit ashamed
Yeah.
when, like right here, before Bethel goes into the tent, it's like, oh, I wouldn't go in there if I were you.
He's like, I can do what I want. I am the leader. And then, he's walking in on Logan clapping cheeks. He's like, oh, I should have not. I should have not. I should have not.
What have I done?
And I like, so basically, and there's something here, man, like about what I really like about Made a Monster is it completely kind of just inverts what we thought about Logan, right? Even when you
And Bethod.
and Bethod, yes, absolutely. But Bethod, we always got like a secondhand look at Bethod, right? We even with the original trilogy, we saw Logan POV, right? Red Country, we saw him from the perspective of somebody that was raised by him, or at least halfway raised by him. Here, we're seeing a best friend look at Logan in the time when Logan was the absolute worst, right?
Yep.
And it's such an inversion when you see here that Logan is obviously having sex with a camp follower, maybe you could call her Lady of the Night, but camp follower in the North. And even Carly Bethod's like, she looks terrified. Jesus Christ. And he's just
and that's another thing as well that this interaction between Logan and the camp follower, as you put it there, Jeff. it's,
Alright.
it's probably it's definitely some kind of non. It's not consensual. Like this is not.
Maybe
Here's the thing.
to
I
a
don't.
degree. I mean,
You know what? Honestly, no. Wait. George might have a point here. And if that's the case, then we get.
I mean,
We
it's
gotta.
it's like, oh yeah, this guy that fucking kills sheep for being too loud. Are you gonna not sleep with him?
Right. That's
right.
the
That's
thing.
what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But
like
that's like, yeah, but that
officially,
is like
but yes,
the
he did, yeah.
implication. Yeah, you've seen that episode of Always Sunny. But yeah, that's coercion, isn't it? That's even if it's
Yeah.
implied, even
Yeah.
if it's not
Yeah. You're right.
intentional.
You are
still.
correct. You are correct. You are correct. And the crazy thing is, like, when he looks at Logan, wow, because Logan looks back over because he's like, "Why is the door to my tent open?" When I say door, I mean flap. And he says that there's a new scar on Logan's cheek. His eyes were wide and his teeth bared. And then his face breaks out in a smile. He goes, "Either come in or get out, Chief, but don't loiter. There's a breeze on my ass." It's like, okay, so we already get the first inkling that Logan's a bit
Okay.
more. He's a bit more like loosey goosey with this, right? And then, and then he goes, "All right." Bethod tells the woman, the lady, to get out, and the lady looks at Logan first for confirmation, as opposed to Bethod, who is the clan chief, the king, the leader, whatever you want to call him. She looks at Logan, and Logan goes, "You heard the chief." And so, and I like this. It goes, Bethon might have been chieftain of Carleon and Uffrith both, winner of 24 battles, acknowledged by all the greatest war leaders since Scarling Hoodless. But Logan Ninefingers had gathered an aura of fear about him the past few years, an aura of death, like the one Shamma Heartless used to have, but worse. And with every duel won and every man killed, it grew worse yet. Within reach of his hand, the Bloody Nine was master. And just, Jesus. Okay. And here's the thing, we're not even seeing a lot right now. We're just getting that kind of background. We're not seeing Logan actually act a certain way yet.
Well, we were
So-
literally only seeing it from Bethod's. And clearly is completely fucking terrified of this guy.
And here's the thing, he is terrified. We know that he's terrified, and we're like, oh, we haven't really seen it yet. And here's the thing, she leaves. You know, she doesn't even like get dressed. She grabs her clothes, runs out naked. So she's getting dressed out in the public. And then here's the thing that I think might go overlooked, right? George, you might appreciate this. But apparently, what Logan does next is he's naked. Remember, he's naked. He just kind of rolls on his back on the furs on the floor. You know, careless as if he was alone. Legs and arms wide out, and his half hard cocked, flopped over to one side. And he's like, nothing like a fuck in the afternoon, is there? And if we,
power move.
huh?
Power move.
Power move, but you know what it is? It's like you wouldn't hear Logan talk like that in the original trilogy.
No, he's much more like bashful, isn't he, when it comes to that kind of thing, isn't he?
Yeah, but here he's like in his 20s. He's much that bravado that I need to flaunt. What you're talking about, power moves maybe, but just that kind of what's the word? There's a level, like he's uncouth to a very high level here. I think I would say.
Yeah, definitely. He's very crass. He's very vulgar.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we only ever get the older Logan, the more quote unquote wise Logan in the original trilogy, and then in Red Country as well. But yeah, holy shit, it's just a completely different person at this point, and also you can start to see why everybody says the things they do about him.
Yeah.
You know, because even when he becomes a bit of an I say a bit of an when he chops that kid in half in Last Argument of the Kings, he's still just like, oh no, what did I do? But everyone else is looking at him like, yeah, nobody expected any better from you.
That's why when they were like burying Tolduru, Black Dad was just staring at him like,
yeah, it's not even a question. It's just like, I know it was you, you fucker.
you cocksucker, you. Absolutely.
It completely recontextualizes the whole thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's such an offhand comment that, like Bethod says, it catches him off guard. and that he is not used to being caught off guard. But every day that he spends with Logan, it's like there's something that he says that's just like, what the fuck is what? Like I'm here to talk to you about some stuff that's very important, obviously, because I might have gotten us into this mess. You have dug us deeper into this mess, Logan, right? And Logan's just like, whatever. And I like at some point, Logan goes, it smells like fucking. And Bethel goes, that's you.
I like how he like sniffs his armpit, goes, "Oh yeah."
And then he tells Bethod, you should fuck. Afternoon, whenever you look worried. Bethod goes, I'm worried because half the North wants me dead. And Logan smiles and he goes, ha, all the North wants me dead. You don't see me frowning, do you? Hook yuck. Say one thing for Logan Nine Fingers. Say he looks on the sunny side of things. and I like how here Bethod, he kind of grinds his teeth and he goes, if I never heard that phrase again, it would be too goddamn soon.
And to be fair, the way that Stephen Pacey does it as well, it's whenever he does it in the original trilogy, it's so like contemplative and it's like more of a character thing. Whereas when he says it here in this chapter, it sounds so like braggadocio, and it's just so fucking over the top that it's
really
no.
do the difference, George. Do it as best as you can.
So like in the original, it'd be like, say one thing for Logan Nine Fingers, say he's sneaky.
Okay.
And then this is like, say one thing for Logan Nine Fingers. Say he's a warrior.
Oh, okay. I got you.
That's so real.
I got
That's
you.
so real. Again, recontextualize it, right?
I got you. All right. So let me try. If I could try. Say one thing for Logan Nine Fingers. Say he's a survivor. me. Say one thing for Logan Nine Fingers. Say he's got a big cock.
Yes. Say he knows how to fuck.
So okay, like that then. And then Logan has the audacity. The audacity of this bitch. He goes, Your wife looked worried too when I saw her the other day. Marriage won't come to nothing without fucking. Whole point of the exercise. And Bethel's like, he doesn't know what to say. He goes, you were married and you had kids, you dirty bitch. What the fuck?
Yeah, I think it's part exactly what he's thinking, and he's also like, "That's too far. You're talking about my woman, you know."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't bring up somebody's wife in an argument like that.
Yeah, and then Logan, he's so full of himself. He goes, "Wisdom's wisdom. Ain't doesn't matter the source. If a man's a fucker or a fighter, then I'm more of a fighter. But say one thing for Logan Nine Fingers. Say he's a fighter, but a fuck just sues all those." Bethel's like, "Okay, stop, please. For the love of God, just stop. Rattleneck is coming. God damn it."
Logan is like your friend who didn't like.
He never aged.
He's like your
never
friend.
matured.
He never aged.
School.
He never peaked in high school. Yes, exactly. He's like, guys, you guys me with a bottle flip. Check this out. I can do it in one try. You're like, wow, bro, that's cool. But but then sometimes you're like, he's like, I love you, brother, and you're like, wow, what a homie.
Guys, you want to do 20 Jaeger bombs? Let's fucking do it. And you're like, oh, God.
Yes, exactly.
What? And so Bethel tells him that Rattleneck's coming. Logan goes, well, maybe I should get dressed. He goes, maybe. But he goes, all right. Look, he has a lot of contempt and love for this guy, right? He doesn't know what to do with Logan, but at this point he goes, I asked Rattleneck to come. And Nine Fingers goes, oh, you did? And at this point, Nine Fingers had gotten up. He was walking towards a table in the tent where there's a wine jug on it, and he paused halfway there. And it was when he paused halfway there, and Logan asked, you did, that Bethel just realized there's a lot of weapons around the tent here. There's like 3 swords on top of another. There's an axe that's supposed to be stained brown, and Bethod is hoping that it's rust, but we know it ain't because it's blood. And there's knives everywhere. And because apparently, as Nine Fingers was always saying, you can never have too many knives. And then Bethod wonders how many men that Logan had killed. If anyone could put a count on it. Named men, champions, famed warriors, thralls, shanka, peasants, women, children. Everything that breathed, he stopped the breath of. Everything for him to kill. And so he goes, oh, Lord, this man's scary. But then Logan just grins, right? A hungry grin, a wolf grin, which we've heard described about Logan before. Mm-hmm. And he goes, don't worry about it. Here's the drink. Do you want me to kill Rattleneck? And he goes, no.
You know what's interesting? is I think this chapter, like every single like line and phrase and it's like the first chapter, right? With Glockta, right? Everything oozes with all this foreshadowing and multi-concept layers, and it's like very like it sounds like Game of Thrones now at this point. You know, like the level of dialogue is going on here, and I can't help but think that Logan is thinking the exact same thing that Bethard is thinking, just in a different way. He
Oh,
wishes
for sure.
he wishes he like suddenly like I know he's like he asked the question, but he knew exactly why. He wanted to prove that he was in charge of Logan. Well, no one's in charge of Logan. And then he looks back at him. He's like, but he is his friend. Well, it's fine. You know, like it's amazing.
It is amazing. And you know what's crazy? It's funny about this when he goes like, "You want me to kill Rattleneck?" And Bethod's like, "No." Apparently Logan looked a little crestfallen.
He's sad about it.
Like,
Oh
"Oh,
man,
no,
you mean it?
man." And then
I
he
don't
goes
get to
on,
kill that guy.
and he goes, "I want to make peace with him." And Logan's like, "Peace, peace. Why?"
I like the way he does that. There's the rule of threes as well. They three character. It happens 3 times where somebody says peace, peace, and just rolls it around in their mouth.
Oh,
And
good point.
Logan being the middle one, and Bethel being the first and last is very interesting.
Yeah. And then we see the extent of the difference of the Logan we knew from the original trilogy in Red Country to here, where he goes, "I could take that fucker, Chief. Believe me, I could take him just like that." And the cup he has in his hands, he just crushes it. And but he's surprised at the fact that he did it, and now there's wine all over his hand, his pants, and everything. He goes, "Ah, shit." And
It's feeding into the the bloody nine is actually a spiritual entity, fuckers. And not just
don't
Logan is a piece of shit, fuckers.
No,
don't
how
do
is it
that.
feeding into them?
Don't do that. But Bethod steps him at this point, and Bethod, he's scared of Logan. He's terrified, right? His heart's pounding, everything. But he steps towards Logan. He goes, "You can't kill the whole world, Logan." And Nine Fingers smiled again. He goes, "People are always telling me who I can't kill, but strong men, weak men, big names, little names, they all die once you cut them enough. Shamma Heartless, you remember him? Everyone told me not to fight him." And then Betha goes, "I told you not to fight him." He goes, "Yeah, only because you were scared I'd lose. But when I fought him, and when I looked set to win, did you ask me to stop?" Bethod remembers the day well enough. He was willing him on desperately, and he tells Logan, "No." Logan goes, "Yeah, no." And once I spilled his guts with his own sword, did you ask me to stop? Bethod goes, "No, I cheered you on." Logan goes, "Yep. You called for no peace then, if I remember right. You felt joy. You felt the joy of it, didn't you? Better than love, better than fucking, better than anything. Don't deny it." And Bethod goes, "Yeah." And he could still feel the joy of it. And Logan tells Bethod that Bethod showed Logan the way. And he's walked the path that Bethod pointed, wherever it led, no matter how far or how dark or how long the odds. Logan walked Bethod's path. So let Logan show him the way. And Bethod's like, "Well, where would you lead us?" And he goes, "The whole North, the whole world." Bethod's like, "I don't want the whole North. I just want peace." And what does peace mean? He goes, "Anything you wanted to." So he goes, "What if what I want is to kill Rattleneck's son?" And Bethod goes, "Oh my god."
And Logan just wants to do this because it's a power trip. That's the only reason why. He makes
Logan's
it feel powerful.
it's not even just powerful. It's just he is death.
He's the
Right?
man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
He's
it's not the
the
right play.
number one. He's just that's what he feels anyway. Like he is the most powerful person in the world
Yeah.
when he's in control like this.
Yes. Yes. And
And
Bethod, go ahead.
is that when he says the line, "Easier to stop the white flow than it is to stop the bloody nine"?
Not yet. I'm about to
Okay.
do it right now. And Bethod realizes he has to talk to Logan almost as if he's talking to Scalar Calder, right? Like a kid. he goes, "If you kill Rattleneck's son, there'll be no end to the feuds, no end to the blood, everyone in the North will be against us. And Logan goes, yeah, what do I care about that? Let him come. He's my prisoner. I took him, and I say what's done with him. I say I'll decide. Easier to stop the white flow than to stop the bloody nine.
Which the fact that he says that heavily implies that this is that maybe his personality split later, but it is not split yet.
Yeah, I don't even know about that whole personality split nonsense. I think Logan.
I don't think it's.
I think he's
split at
horny.
all.
Instead of horny with love, he's horny with blood. That's what I think.
I mean, I'm not saying it's all split and he doesn't take responsibility. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying that he has like some kind of issue later that where he feels it coming on to him. He feels like this other person.
He has.
I
erectile
feel
dysfunction.
this is what I feel that is the bloody nine comes from first from a reaction to danger.
Yes.
So like,
Trauma,
and then
maybe?
and from trauma, obviously growing up in the fucking far north where anything might happen, the Shanker might raid, you might starve in the winter, anybody's going to get traumatized by that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then being the only one to survive, or your family get killed,
Your
and
wife, your kids.
that persona becomes first a way to survive and then a way to thrive. And because it becomes so successful, that's like what he relies on all the time. But he doesn't really ever want to
George.
like open up
Yeah.
to anything because
Yeah.
that persona of this has made him the most powerful man, one of the most powerful people in the North, from
Yep.
being nothing.
And you know what I
So
love
why
about...
would you not continue with that?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you know what I love of what you said about that, George? What you just said is that let's take it in the layers of this, right? You talk about to survive and then to thrive. Let's go just one deeper than survive. It's what he needed to do to escape, to cope. And then the survival aspect is like, okay, getting away from the Shanka, but like externally and internally. And then now we're going to that upper level, right, of the thriving, quote unquote, air quotes, folks, for anyone that can't see us. Just Logan may be thriving. The population of the North is not at this point, right?
And we can follow that attitude all the way through to the original trilogy. He still has the same attitude. It's just not working so well anymore.
No.
Yeah.
So the only reason why you'd ever have to escape into that mindset is when you're in danger and you need that like boost energy.
Yeah, absolutely. And you
Which
know
is-
the... Go ahead, Harrison.
I was gonna say it's part of the tragedy of Logan Nine Fingers. Is like he is responsible because it's a coping kind of blackout. Oh, I see red kind of idea. But he chose that life, and whenever he didn't have to choose it, at the end of the day, he went back to it. But he also tried to escape it, and so it's the tragedy that like he's victim to himself in that kind of classic self harm way, just in a violent sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what I love here though is I love what's funny is like we like what Betha was just talking about the dog man, and when he goes, oh, this poor bastard's tied to the hip worse than me, yada yada. It's hard to... Betha is just as bad in terms of like when I say Beth just as bad, I mean he's tied almost just as much to the hip as Logan until Betha at some point was just like, fuck it, I'm taking my wife's advice to heart, and I'm banishing him, etc., etc., etc. And but he thinks about like, who is this person? When he thinks about the Logan Nine Fingers he must have met when Logan came over the high places after the Shanka came over, and they would laugh, they would joke, they would look at the landscape, him and Logan, and probably Dogman at this point too, right? Looking at the land and like how they would weaponize it against the enemy. But Bethod barely recognizes Logan now, to the point where he wants to ask Logan, what the fuck happened to you? But Bethod knows what happened to him because Bethod had been there, right? He's the one that pointed the way, just like Logan said, that Bethod was a willing companion. He was caught up in all the rewards and everything, and he had made a monster, and Bethod feels he has to make things right. He has to at least try for everyone's sake, for Logan's even and his own. And so what he does here is he continues to try to talk to Logan, and he does not waver. Even though he's scared as shit, he does not waver. He is a rock. And he tells Logan, Rattleneck's son is your prisoner. Obviously, of course. You'll decide. Of course you will. But I'm asking you, Logan, which is the first time he addressed him by his first name here
Mhm.
so far. He goes, "As your chief, as your friend, let me use him. Do you know what my father used to say?" And Logan does the thing where, like, you might have seen, like, not even Scale, Calder, because Calder is so smart, right? As a kid at this point, he might be like, "What?" But Logan kind of does the same thing. He goes, "What do you say?" And Bethod try to be as earnest as possible, almost like a temple level kind of earnestness, right? He goes, "Before you make a man into mud, make sure he's no use to you alive. Some men will smash a thing just because they can. They're too stupid to see that nothing shows more power than mercy." And Nine Fingers obviously takes kind of anything as an insult. He goes, "You say I'm stupid," and Bethod has to be like, "No, no, 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 no.
So
I'm
it's
saying
so intimidating as well when
right,
in the audiobook, like you can almost feel like the atmosphere go out, and he just goes, "Are you saying I'm stupid?" Like so
Yes,
quietly, and
cold.
it's like, oh yeah, no, that's that's another persona entirely.
right." But then Bethod, he dives into his nuts and he goes, "Prove you're not stupid."
Oof.
Dude.
Double down, as I like it.
And they stare at each other and everything, and he doesn't know what's gonna happen. It's like a moment of like just that tense, that tension, and then out of nowhere, Logan just smiles. He goes, "You're right. Of course you're right. I'm just funning." And then he just like slaps Beth out on the side of the shoulders, like, "Ah, yeah, whatever." And I like this. Beth out wasn't sure he ever had less fun than the last few moments.
A key difference there, right? We're talking about their psychology is that Bethod, in this conversation, there are two things that are going on.
Mhm.
One, Bethod through the entire chapter is constantly, I want to say talking down to people, but putting himself at their level with his kids, maybe not with his wife. He does it with Rattleneck though, and it shows one, his intelligence, and two, his willingness to try to work things out and talk about things.
Right, exactly. And I know it's not like bringing them. I know you didn't mean it that way, like bringing them down to level, whatever. But what Harrison, what you're saying is like Bethod is smart enough to talk to people on their plane, right?
Yeah,
Uh, he does it with his kids, like you said. With Ursi, it's difficult because she's the one breaking through to him,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
She's the one because obviously when you have your significant other, they're the ones you.
I don't think he's talking that way to her, to be honest.
No, no, no. If anything, she's talking that way to him, right? Like you
Yeah.
said. But like you said, we'll see with Rattleneck, but with Crawl, with Dogman, and even Sulfur, which you'll see later. Bethod is very good at interpersonal dynamics.
Yep.
At this moment, he is. I feel like when he exiled Logan, whenever this was at this point, George Harrison, please tell me what your thoughts are in here. That when he exiled Logan, it had reached such a fever point that it almost broke him. So that he was still the smart Bethod in terms of like navigating war, right? Use the land to suit your armies and everything. But in terms of like, oh, what do I want? I want peace. I think he was like Logan had forced him in too far of a corner that he just kind of like snapped. It was like, well, you just got to conquer, 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 conquer.
Um,
What do you think about that?
But no, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's interesting, and it also throws light on when we get to the last argument of Kings, when Logan and Bethord have the conversation. And I think Bethord, at that point, if we got his point of view, is like, I'm finally seeing the person that I used to know, like
yeah.
before he became the full bloody nine. And it's interesting that then they have that conversation, and then Bethel was like, "You realize like what you've done, what you've driven me to," and Logan's just
Mhm.
like, "Yeah, what of it?"
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like Bethod hits him with the guilt pretty hard because he's like you're the one who pushed it. You're the one who did all this, and then Logan goes, he knew it was true. And he also says Bethod knew him better than anybody else. They're two brothers, and I would pay so much money. People are talking about like, oh, what kind of series should they make? You know what kind of series they should make? They should make Logan live. First of all, he's like main character energy, right? Everybody loves Logan. But you take him on this journey. Put him in the village. You don't got to go crazy with the backstory. And then the whole story is about him and Bethod and the Dogman and all these other northern characters and Bias popping in and shit, doing all this stuff and conquering the north and showing Logan over the course of the series degrading piece by piece by piece and their dynamic. It would I would
Yeah, I
pay
know.
so much money
It makes
for
me sad that we're never gonna get that because Joe hates writing books like that.
Joe hates
It'd
what?
be so
He hates
fun.
books where the ending is already like preordained. Like he's not
Oh,
gonna go back and write the story of Logan Nine Fingers knowing that like the
Yes.
X-Men
No, he's not
origins
going to add
Wolverine,
to
you
it
know?
more. Right.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, he kind of did that with Sharp Ends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
but this
kinda
is just
does that.
but it's almost the opposite here because we actually get to see forever all of the doubters, all of the Logan supporters that get to the end of Last Argument of the Kings. They're like, yeah, Logan was a good guy. He's just a badass
Yeah.
and all that. And then you see this and you're like, oh, maybe.
Ooh, maybe not always.
Oh,
Anyway.
I don't know about this. But you know what? I will say this. At the point where Logan agrees and he goes, "Yeah, of course you're right. I'm just funning." Logan goes, "Peace is what we need now." As he walks to the table, pours himself some more wine with the cup he didn't break. He goes, "Huh, I got no use for the bastard's corpse. What good is he dead? Just meat, just mud. Give him back to Rattleneck. Send him back to Daddy. Best all around. Let's get done with this and go home. Breed some fucking pigs or some shit. He's yours." Bethod mutters, he mutters like, "Oh, thank the dead." And then he tells Logan, he goes, "You made the right choice. Trust me." Right? And then he breathes a sigh of relief and he walks to the tent flap and he's about to walk out, but then he turns back because he remembers what his father told him was that a man should pay his dues. And he looks at Logan and he looks at Logan like as if, this is still my best friend. Right? He goes, "Thanks, Logan. Truly. I could not have gotten here without you. That much I know." And Logan just laughs and he goes, "That's what friends are for, aren't it? Ain't it?" And he smiles that easy smile he used to have. The smile of a man who never entertained a dark purpose.
That's the
And
smile that he has when he catches that fish up in before the hang.
right. And so then Bethard goes outside and he closes his eyes. He takes like a nice, he's like, "Oh, oh Lord." And his forehead sweating. He wipes it and he goes, "I could do it. I could taste it. Freedom, peace. Yes, that's it. The size in the field, the men building instead of breaking, the forest cleared for the great road, and a nation rising from the dust and ashes, a nation that would make all the sacrifices worthwhile." And all he had to do was make a man who hated him beyond all else see things his way. He took another breath and puffed out his cheeks, and he goes, "Ah." And Craw asked him, he goes, "Oh, is he giving up Rattleneck's son? is that what's happening?" And Bethany goes, "Yes, bitch. Yes, he is." And then like, "Oh shit, Dogman Jones is like, oh, thank Lord. I tried to tell him, but Lord help me almighty." Anyway, I don't know why I went like Louisiana, New Orleans, Southern grandma. Sorry, so sorry.
Well, the Dogman is
That
from
was good though.
Louisiana.
It was a good accent. Well done.
Thank you. Listen, I'm very good at accents, except for the British. Y'all fuck me up.
Yeah,
Because
no.
you have 30 accents for one region. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
I know. I live there.
Ridiculous. Anyway, and I like how Bethel tells Logan, he goes, "All right, hold on. Keep him here until Rattleneck is gone because Rattleneck's about to get there." He goes, "The last thing I need is a buddy nine wandering into my negotiations with this cock hanging out."
I love how you give particular emphasis to the word hog.
And then he tells Dogman this word for word. I'm going to tell you the word for I'm going to direct quotes. Bethel to Dogman, "And by the dead, make sure he does nothing stupid." Dogman to Bethod, "He's not stupid." Bethod looks over and goes, "Then make sure he does nothing mad."
Yeah.
Oh,
I like that distinguishing part with Beth thought he is actively thinking of Logan as stupid, as an idiot.
he's not.
And
A
Logan
little bit,
is
he is.
he is being a fool, a rash, brash fool, but he's
Yes.
not an idiot. And I love how we get so little of Dogman here, relatively speaking, because he's like, beta dog man, not alpha dog man. And he's just like, he's not stupid. He almost has like this offensive tone, and like when Pacey's version, he's not stupid. Like he's like, whoa, man, no, that's not the case. And almost a warning at the same time. I don't know. Pacey did such a good job at delivering that line. It's so good.
I want Harrison, if you can, remind me to bring what you just set up at the end of this chapter, please, because
Okay, I'll try.
I have a question to ask you. But he goes, all right. So now there's a break, and now we know. Okay, again, so we're in the hold fast of Carleon. As far as we know, Bethod and Craw are either right in front of the hold fast, or they're walking towards it from the tent. But essentially, Craw goes, "Hey, you can stop right there." They see a stranger walking towards Bethod. Logan and Bethod and Craw, they're heading back to Carleon, and funny enough, they run into fucking Euro Sulfur of all people. And Euro Sulfur just basically is like, "Hey, I know you don't know me, and like it's a little like odd, but here's my number, and call me
He's-
maybe." And
Jeff,
so
he's more like, hey, I got some magic tricks. You want to buy? Hey, you want to buy some
Hey,
magic tricks?
my boss is Baez, the first of the Magi. He's got an
He's
offer
not
or
an Italian
multiple
boss, okay? He's a
offers.
nice guy.
Hey, he's a great guy. He can help you get what you want. Hey. And Bethard goes,
I'm good for now, thanks.
I don't know if I have like need for a wizard right now. I'm about to get peace. And I like here's the thing. I will say this. When Bethard goes, when he does say he goes, my difficulties end today. And then Sulfur says my master will be overjoyed to hear it. But if I may, the trouble with difficulties solved is that so often new difficulties, blah, blah, blah. I think if maybe Bethard didn't say anything, like, do you have an idea? Maybe, like, I had a theory in my head that popped up when I was reading this chapter again for this episode. What if everything's good, Sulfur comes into the play, right? Bethard goes, oh, no, I'm good. Everything's about to get solved. And then Sulfur and obviously Baez, with their power, their magic, the power of will, they nudge Logan to do what he does.
Alpha just goes and slips him some fucking meth or something.
No, it's magic, baby. It's magic. It's magic.
Meth.
I would normally.
What do you
say
think? What do you think
maybe,
about
but
that?
I don't think so because one, it takes a complete away from credibility from Logan. I don't like that at all.
Oh,
Because
okay,
it's very
okay.
clear that
Not
Logan
credibility.
does
You mean accountability. You mean
this. Accountability, but also it, Nate, to Logan's credit, too. But and even that being said, like Yoru Sulfur's goal here is not to his goal is to like he's just showed up. This is his first time there. He doesn't know everything that's going on.
They
It's not
play
like
the long game. They don't.
Yeah,
they're not. They
right.
just
Okay.
sneak in immediately. Go.
So,
Oh yeah.
okay. So, yeah. You know what? You might. Yeah. You're right. So like they see Bethard. They see he's the rising star. No matter what happens from these negotiations, he's probably eventually going to be the de facto leader of the North, right? So it doesn't matter what Logan does here or not on their end, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. Okay. Well,
I mean, we know it's going to be another 5 years before Baez or Bethard is fully in Baez's pocket anyway, because I feel like that's how Bethard gets the initiative to get rid of him when Baez is like, yeah, you basically got to send him to me.
Bethard doesn't say no. That's different.
I don't think. I think it's more like from Baez's point of view anyway.
No. Bethard was legitimately ready to kill him once he had Logan imprisoned. But Baez is the one that was like, no, don't kill him.
Well,
I need him
do a
alive.
whole fucking episode on that.
We can. We can. But anyway, so Sulfur tries to recruit Bethard. Obviously, we know that Bethard at this point right now isn't on board with the Baez, capitalistic United Board of Peacekeeping Corps. But he's gonna be there eventually. And funny enough, when Sulfur whispers in his ear, he goes, you can pay him a visit whenever you want at the Great Northern Library. And Bethel's like, I don't need to. He turns around, Sulfur's not there. He goes, that's odd. But then Pale of Snow is there. He goes, right on next on his way. Let's do this. It's Crawl and everything. Is like, okay, let's get this going. And Pale of Snow was like, oh, so are we Are we good, or is Logan gonna give up right on next son? Bethel's like, yeah, duh, bitch. I'm the king. I'm the chief. All this stuff. He doesn't say king. That's not used here yet. But he goes there, and but everyone's still like, there's anxiety here that's permeating through everybody because of this.
Yeah.
Because of the absolute psycho.
It's the first thing that everybody asks about. Everybody's like, is that Logan guy? Is he gonna come and kill everyone? Is he gonna kill my son? Is he gonna kill, you know, the
Yeah.
whole plot just completely pivots on whether or not Logan is gonna kill this kid or not.
Right, and that's crazy because we're not seeing his POV. We see him for a good amount of time in this chapter, but it's all about Bethod, his inner workings, his inner complications, his dynamic with his wife, his kids, and his different, Crawl, Pale Snow, everybody else, but it all hinges on Logan, which is crazy. And what I do like to say is like, Pale Snow when they're talking about, oh shit, okay, so if Logan is agreeing to give up right on next son, we're okay. There's peace. Crawl goes, maybe I'll go back to carpentry, which we know how that turns out, right?
20 years later.
20 years later. And then I like when Pale Snow goes, well, should I tell Little Bone and Whitesides to stand down then? Because I tell them to stand up. But Little Bone, let's talk about Little Bone and Whitesides real quick. Little Bone is the guy that I know this guy, or am I thinking of Rattlebone from
No,
the Song
no.
of
Hey,
Ice and Fire?
listen. I'll give you. Let me do my job, Jeff.
Yeah, please.
Little Bone
For
is
once.
the guy.
For once.
Little Bone and Whitesides get killed in the Union charge, or they get killed in the Battle of the High Places. They're his two war chiefs that get murdered up there. But I think Whitesides. No, not Whitesides. We don't really see much of him. But Little Bone is like, you're gonna pay for this, Logan. You killed my son. I'm pretty sure.
Little Bone?
Everyone hates either. Maybe it's White Eye Hansel. No, White Eye Hansel his son gets killed by. Anyways, Little Bone and Whitesides get killed in the Battle of the High
Oh, the
Places.
dentist is fucked up.
Jeffrey, I'm trying to give a quick rundown. They get killed in the High Places. That's what matters. Nobody likes Little Bone. I know that for sure. Everybody hates Little Bone. He's
Yeah, Little
Yeah,
Bone.
those are the standards that get captured, right? When West comes up behind, when
Yes.
they've had the siege in the high places. I think the three standards that they mention are Little Bone, Whitesides, and Goring. Goring doesn't get mentioned here, so he must have joined later.
Really?
But they obviously all got captured and probably burned alive by Black Dale.
Can I ask you guys a question? This might be
What?
dumb. But are we getting confused with? Isn't there a bone character in Song of Ice and Fire? Rattlebone? No, there is the north of the
I know
wall.
what you're thinking of. You're thinking of
It's
The Lord
Rattle.
of Bones.
Lord
The
of
Lord of
Bones.
Bones.
Yes.
Not the same.
It's not. You know what's funny enough? Rattleneck, isn't it?
Different character.
No,
Jeffrey,
I
you're
know.
getting sidetracked.
No. What I'm asking is, are we confusing the temperaments?
No.
No. You sure?
No. Everybody. Remember, they mentioned it inside the before the hang. They're like, "Oh, Little Bone Sanders down there. Ah, that little prick." Or some shit.
Yeah,
They're like,
every single time that somebody talks about Little Bone, they're like, "Oh, that guy. I hate that guy."
Okay. So while Pale Snow, Crawl, and Bethod are like, oh shit, we about to get some peace up in this bitch, we have the contingent of the enemy at this point, which is Rattleneck. Rattleneck is at the front, balding, a little bit, getting a little fat, but he's still a big man. Gold links in his chainmail shirt, and gold rings in his hair, and gold at the hilt of his heavy sword. So we see that Bethod, Crawl, Pale Snow, they're just hanging out here and they're getting ready to receive Rattleneck's contingent, and they arrive. And so we see a little bit later that not much happens here, but Rattleneck, when he arrives, he's very aggressive. He's like, I want my son, fuck you, and fuck you. I want my son. So
He even does the wine slapping thing that Chev does in the last chapter.
yes. As they're sitting in, like, we could call it the I don't want to say the main room, but there's a bunch of different names we could call a main room. George, give me a couple names. Like the
The whole.
The lobby.
What were you gonna say? Besides the lobby, this fucking guy, the lobby hall, the what? You were gonna say something, George?
I said hole.
Oh, you said hall. Okay, there
That's
you
what
go.
it is. It's a hole. It's fucking
Right, right. So,
Mhm.
but
the
I
meeting room.
just the way the rest of this chapter turns out, I feel like there might be a little bit more. Anyway, it's
They're in
well,
Carleon, so they probably go up to the palace, the main place.
yes, yes. So it's Rattleneck and his contingent, right? And Bethod, Pale Snow, and Kern the Crawl. So just those three, and against not against, but there's obviously other people Rattleneck's
He's got his
contingent.
whole army
And,
outside, so
yeah, and one of them. But here's when we see the whole army outside, there's no siege going on because no one's freaking out. One of Rattleneck's advisors, we could say, or his confidants, is Black Toe. Now, I feel like,
That's the
correct me if I'm
guy
wrong.
that
Yeah,
Logan
uh-huh.
kills in like the first 5 chapters in Blade itself.
Right. That's
yeah.
the guy with the when they were chasing him for
Yeah.
in the log. Yeah,
And he
yeah.
also mentions Old Man Yule in that chapter as well, where he does here as well.
Yes, he's pro
Mhm.
Old Man Y'all. He's
Yes,
his
Old Man Yule.
representative.
We barely knew ye, etc.
Yeah, yeah. And so Black Toe is a bit of an aggressive kid here. And when I say aggressive kid, I don't mean aggressive kid. He's older than Logan, and we know that for a fact because we saw that in the Blade itself. But at this point, he is Rattleneck's one of his advisors, and he is disbelieving. He doesn't believe that Bethod and Logan and all of them want peace. But Bethod goes, no, I want peace. We had a war, and in war, folk do things that they regret. I want peace. Whatever you believe, that's all I want. And Rattleneck is thinking about it, and Bethod can kind of see it, and he goes, look, peace now, and the thralls can go back to their farms, the carls back to their halls. Peace now, and their wives and mothers and children need not struggle with the harvest alone. Peace now, and let us build something. I've seen enough waste. How about you? And Rattleneck, he gets angry at this. He goes, I never wanted this. And Bethel has to say, believe it or not, neither did I. So let's end the fighting. Here, now, we have the power. But Black Toe, at this point, 5, 10 years, depending what you believe in the retcon and everything, he's an angry guy. And he goes, you're listening to this? Old man, y'all won't have no peace. Not ever. And nor will I. So he's not even an advisor. I apologize. He's his own chieftain, right? Harrison?
he's like he sides with the Old Man Y'all. He's a named man. He probably's got his own little thing, and he works with Old Man Y'all.
Right. And you know what? Rattleneck gets mad at him. He tells him to shut his mouth. But Rattleneck is smart. He goes, wait a minute. But Blacktoe's got a point, though. Old Man Y'all is not going to have peace. And then there's Black Dow to think on, too, as well. And plenty of others. So they might not take to peace. Which tells us at this point, if you haven't been named otherwise, you're either part of Logan's Dozen or you're not. So we have Dogman, Three Trees, Grim, Tolduru, and Forley.
Maybe Forley.
Uh, no offense, dog. No offense. Dog. Is anyone naming? First of all, you're not. You're not. First of all, Forley was only named because of that town of that whole fast, they sent Forley out as the one to surrender. Remember that. So he's not like
That's not what Harrison's saying. Harrison isn't saying like he's not part of the dozen. I think he's saying that he might not be part of the dozen yet.
Yeah, I'm saying that it's there. We have another 5 years, so we don't
Oh,
know. Grim may
uh,
not be a part of it either, but Grim seems to be very familiar, so he probably is.
maybe,
Forley seems to
maybe,
be the new kid on the block. Like it happened more
maybe,
recently because
maybe.
at that point, there was no point in fighting against Bethod and Logan. That's why they sent him out. You know.
Okay. I see that. But anyway, the point is this: is that he goes, "Oh, they might not take the piece," but Bethel goes, at this point, who gives a fuck? I will make them go for peace. They can hate me in peace. I'd rather that. But if they fight me, then I'll crush them just like I did Three Trees and Bayer. George, I'm gonna correct me on
I
that.
think it's fair.
Bayer and all the rest. And then Rattleneck, he goes, "What about the Bloody Nine? Are you gonna make him a farmer?"
A
Bethard
funny
goes,
choice of words there.
and Bethard goes, "Maybe I will. My man, my business. That's my man." And then Blacktail goes, "Oh, he's just gonna do what you tell him to do, right?" And he goes, and Bethel goes, "This is bigger than just one man. This is bigger than you or me or your son or the Bloody Nine. This is something we owe our people. Talk to the other clans. Call off your dogs. Tell them the land I've taken in battle belongs to me and my sons and their sons. What you still hold is yours and your sons. I don't want it. Take my hand, Rattleneck. Let's end this." Rattleneck's shoulders slumped. He looked a tired man as he slowly rose. An old man, a man with no fight left in him. "All I want is my son. Give me my son. You can have 1,000 years of peace, far as I care." And one thing I do, go ahead, Harrison.
The way that Pacey does this one, because George, he says that he like deflates, and he's like, just give me my son. Like he sounds so, he's just worn out and tired, and his voice almost cracks at that. Like he just wants to see his son at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah,
The rest is bluster.
yeah. And I love how Joe does this on purpose. I love how he writes this. He goes, he holds out his hand, palms up or palms down. Neither of that, just perfectly level, straight up and down, right? And he's like, "This is a man. This is a hand that could be trusted." Right? And Bethod, believes this. Rattleneck wants to believe this. Bethod needs to be like, "Yes, let's get this done," because we just need to start building. We just need to start building. So, bit of a break. And Bethod is walking with a skip to his loo, just a little hopscotch and a dodge, right? And he's like, "Yes, baby, I
I
got
can
it. A
imagine
great."
if my choice for director gets to make these films, this would be like sets at some weird like 30s upbeat jazz tune. It's just like dancing in the hallway.
You know what I struggle with this, George? You know where I struggle with this? I either want Guy Ritchie,
It's Guy Ritchie for me as well. Yeah.
or like a Denis Villeneuve, right? Like something like I need the polar opposites. I need something, but just the fucking whiplash
Okay,
of
get
the
them both. Get them both. Let's get
get
them.
them both. Okay, do it right. Yeah. So Bethod is walking out of the room here. We don't know which room. Who cares? He's walking. He's happy. He's excited. He loves this. He's like, yes. Swords are like he's thinking back to what his father had said. Swords are well enough, but the only true victories are won with words. Now he
Calder
would
for that.
get, huh?
Check. Bingo for Calder.
Oh, right. Now he would get to building something to be proud of. His father would have been proud of all this stuff, and then he sees a dog man lurking at the head of the steps going down with the strangest guilty look on his face. And Beth thought was like, I don't like this. And all my dreams and visions have been frozen. So he goes to the dog man. He goes, this is the whole fast. What are you doing in here as opposed to the tent out there? And the dog man just shook his head. And Bethel asked him, "Is Nine Fingers down there, down the steps?" And the dog man's eyes were wide and wet, and his mouth opened, but he said nothing. Bethel goes, "I told you not to let him do anything stupid." And Dogman responds with honestly the best line, one of the best lines ever. He says, "You didn't tell me how." So now, Bethon, poor Bethon, is like, "All right, I guess I'll go down
Yeah.
there." And then Craw goes, "Hey, do you really like want me to go down there with you?
That's the most Quran shit ever. Hey,
And
I
then
know you have to go down there with the most dangerous killer that we've ever known in our entire history, but you think I can sit this one out? Bah!
and Bethel goes, "Ah, you know what? Best I go alone." Which you know what? Kudos to Bethel. Kudos to the bravery and courage there. And so Bethel reluctantly just walks down there, and he doesn't know because it's down the steps, and then the steps end, and then it's just like down a dark hallway towards a cellar, right? A
Like a
cell.
horror
Let's just
movie.
say it. Yeah. And the only thing he wants to do is just to run away, but he forces himself to keep walking, right? And then he realizes as he's walking, he's starting to hear strange noises over the beating of his heart, squelching, which we know it's a famous word here in the First Soul universe,
Well,
a crunching, a humming, a whistling, growling, grunting,
so
and
juicy, sweet.
and sung phrases, yes. And then he forced himself around the corner of the tunnel, and he looks through the wide open door into the cell, and he went cold as the dead because he sees that Logan Nine Fingers, the Bloody Nine, is just still naked from the last time he saw him. He's tunelessly whistling as he's working, skin dashed and spattered black from head to toe. And there is something hanging all around the cell, the cellar, the ceiling. Glistening rope in swags and festoons like decorations for some mad festival. And then Bethod realizes it's not ribbons, it's guts. Guts unwound and nailed to the ceiling and to the walls. And Bethod has no choice but to whisper, "By the dead," as he puts a hand up to his mouth. And Nine Fingers, Logan Nine Fingers, the Bloody Nine, our boy Logan, he goes, "Ah, that's got it," as he takes his knife, buries it in the table, and then he grabs a head dangling by one ear, hacked off, decapitated, the head of Rattleneck's son. And then he grabs the slack lower jaw and he starts moving it up and down while putting on a cunty voice. And he goes, "I want to go back to my daddy. Take me back to daddy. I'm scared." And all through this, Logan Nine Fingers is laughing. And then he just tosses the head away into the corner. And he says to himself, "I thought that'd be funnier." And he looks at Bethod and he goes, "You reckon Rattleneck will take him now?" And Bethod goes, "What have you done?" And Logan just looks at Bethod, smiles the easy smile he used to have back in the day, shrugs and just says, "Changed my mind." Folks, that's the end of the chapter
Damn.
of Made a Monster. Lord Almighty, now you see why Logan's hated throughout the North. Oh, don't. Jesus fucking Christ. When I read that, I was like, oh, yeah, nope. They should have worked harder to kill him. They should have worked harder.
Yeah, Beth should just hadn't killed it right there. Yeah.
Right there. It's like, oh shit, yeah, Logan, that's oh great interior decorating instincts. Love it. Love that. Can you come outside real quick? Just real quick, just come outside. And then he tells Pale Snow, he's like, "Get everybody to surround this bitch right now."
Got 10 guys with bows right around the entrance. Just wait.
This
'Cause
motherfucker.
that's the great part, though, right? Because every action he takes only builds up this aura of fear around him.
This is a
inside of this
wild.
culture. Yeah, I think it's so super cool. You know, I know you guys have thought we've talked about this I think before, but there's this theory about how the men who help build the world through violence are not allowed to inherit it.
Oh, yo. Okay.
And there is a huge theme in that here, and there has been. There's a lot of that inside of like Red Country as well, right? That's
Mm.
kind of it's a Western
Mm.
theme. You know, they're
Oh, I
traveling
love
across,
it.
so you can
Yes.
and and I think it fits so well here because unlike in most of those stories, or like how Logan becomes later on, and props to Logan for becoming a better man to a degree,
To a
um,
degree.
to a degree, is he doesn't walk away whenever things don't go his way, when he doesn't get to be the man of violence. He's his young self. He is going to fight to keep the world the way it is for as long as possible, because that's the world that he's powerful, that's the world that he's useful, that's the world that he knows. And I think this is such like a perfect picture of that old style, that violence, the people that had to be used to build the world that Bethard is trying to build. It's
Mhm.
them pushing back. You know,
Mm.
it's that idea, and I think it's so representative of that. It's so good. So good. It's so good.
It's incredible. You know, hold on. First of all, let's get our scores right now off the bat. Boys, how do you rate it?
Oh, come on, the 9.
Yeah.
I
George?
think the Night of the Knuckle is well cemented now, so it's going to be a Night
9.
of the Knuckle.
9. Yeah,
Nine and
yeah,
knuckle.
yeah,
Yes, 9 and
Night of
knuckle.
the Knuckle.
Can't, yeah. Sorry.
Night in a Stump.
I mean, George, you were so drunk one time. You were like, "I give it a 10." We're like, George, you can't do that. You're like, "I don't care. I love it. It's a 10."
I remember that. Yeah, no, this honestly, what I do appreciate, like, people have their issues with sharp ends. I do appreciate that what Joe did is that for the last chapter, he left a lasting impression of what Logan really was at the height of his powers, right? At the true height of his powers, because you're in your prime, in your late 20s, early 30s, and here we go. We have a completely bloodthirsty cunt for a protagonist. He's our protagonist, and he's not even a protagonist. At some point, we go from the first book to the third book in terms of the original trilogy. He's like, oh no, he's the antagonist. What the fuck is going on here?
I
And
think
we-
it's so scary as well because obviously, like Logan at this point in his life, can completely project like this aura of yeah, I'll do whatever you say, and then he must have immediately gone from there and just
Yep, he
killed him
did.
straight away.
But you know what I love about this though? I feel like this one of the aspects of like, creating Logan Nine Fingers for Joe. This could be anybody. Doesn't have to be the ultimate thing. Anybody can just betray and do the utmost like filthy thing.
To the worst.
Now,
yeah.
right now, Logan obviously
Which is why you should always be paranoid at all times.
Be
Anyone
paranoid. Trust no one. But that's my point. Is like Logan's our hero when we get to reading the series, and we realize, oh, fuck heroes. There shouldn't be heroes. But Logan's out here just killing the kids, the children of kings or what have you, or clan chiefs of
I mean,
negotiating
that's the
nations.
thing, though, is that he will become the hero inside the song to Stour Nightfall, to his little shitty friends.
Oh,
He is
right,
the
Stour,
great
right.
warrior. He's the man who helped
Wait.
Bethod build the North.
Wait.
He's
Help me out here, Harrison.
Sorry,
I
Jeffrey,
read.
you
I
only
read.
read Age of Madness once. That's
I
on
read
you,
no.
buddy. We'll get there.
That's all I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
we will
But
get
wait,
there.
were there songs about the Bloody Nine that
Yeah,
Stour
they talk
like?
about it. They literally
Yes,
it's
this
mentioned
is
like
old.
10 times in the Age of
Yeah.
Madness.
Oh,
Anyways,
God.
Jeffrey, it just
This is
shows
gonna
that
be
you're
a-
out
this
of
is gonna
touch,
be a
Age of
tr-
Madness, and you're and that's okay. You're gonna appreciate it, I think, a little bit more. But anyways,
We'll see.
Anyway,
We've been grooming you for it for like 3 years.
Grooming.
So.
No, as soon as I hear any pro socialist propaganda, I'm immediately like I'm banning it.
I'm fairly certain the book is
socialist.
not trying to get that across.
The
at all.
book is
Well, you know
definitely
what?
not
I don't
socialist.
know, and I don't care.
Anyways, that's the thing I think is really cool, right? Is the fact that like there shouldn't be heroes, but like the characters in the stories, Logan's still in the story, his influences, but pretty much only his bad side, and I think that is I don't know. There's so many layers to Logan with this,
yeah.
and the fact that he is able to craft this whole section with Bethod instead, that is a perfect dichotomy that shows how they're friends. It alludes to all this history, and every single like line and paragraph is all interconnected and layered between all the characters. It's just incredible. It's maybe his best chapter.
Yes, yes. Thank you, thank you. I think it might be his best chapter ever. I haven't read the Devils yet. Love this chapter. Love this chapter. Because if you think about it, what he's doing is like it's a number of things going on here. He's deconstructing one of our favorite protagonists of the original trilogy, with Logan, right? But he's not. It's weird. It's like he is deconstructing him, but he's not. He's almost not, because he already went through that process in the latter half of like the last Abercrombie Kings. And not even the last Abercrombie
Giving
Kings.
context. He's
He-
not
he-
recon. Yeah, he's giving context.
Yeah, he's giving context, but if you think about it, latter half of if it Blade itself, he did it there, right? Where you're like, oh shit, Logan, there isn't a limit there. You saw him before they're hanged. You saw him in Last Argument of Kings. You saw him in the Red Country, and it's like he's kind of just constantly introducing you to this line, right? And then he gives you Bethod. He sprinkles in Bethod here in the first trilogy, but obviously from other perspectives. And the perspective that you see Bethod from is literally just Logan, right? Logan and maybe the Dogman that you see Bethod from the perspective.
Bethod is literally the first time we presented with him is just, this is the evil king.
The Eve,
This is,
right?
This is the antagonist.
With the
This
scary
is the
witch,
bad guy,
with the golden voice.
Look at his two little cunt sons. They're little cunts.
Right.
But you know what? Like he does with Baez throughout the whole original trilogy. His characters, maybe not all the ideas are fully formed yet, but like with somebody like Bethod, you realize that his idea of what Bethod was very consistent at that time. Bethod is pretty much the same person in personality, in the way he talks and the way he does things. We can talk about this stuff in just a second, but he's the same character, and you can totally see that. And that's what's so incredible. You read Blade itself right after you read this, and you're like, oh, everything changes. That's so good.
Yes, and obviously, like we were talking about like how we're gonna talk about the difference between like mindsets and everything, but like what you said, Harrison, is correct. He's the same, and the only difference between this kind of chapter here versus what we see in the original trilogy is honestly like what I think is just Bethod just kind of being done with it. He's just like, motherfucker, you forced me into this. You did. And now I gotta figure out the ramifications of this. Well, I'm talking about Bethod towards Logan. That's what I'm talking about, in case you're confused. And that's one of the things we could talk about in a different like YouTube episode or video or whatever. But it's like,
I think this is what you said, Harrison. It's like the watershed moment, isn't it? When somebody's read all the books and they get to this moment, it just kind of tips.
yeah,
And you just kind of realize, oh, that is really what it is. Well, it was for me anyway. When I realized that, like, you can see things from all these different perspectives, and
I mean, that's really what they think the greatest
what it
lesson, intentional or not, is the fact that every single person is a person, and most everything is a matter of perspective. And sure, you could be older and wise and be like, I always knew that, but like, how many stories are actually about that?
right.
I don't know. He does it so well here, because every single time you read a character, you go, yeah, but there's more to it than that. And that's the way it is with people, to be honest.
Yeah. It was this chapter of this book that made me go, oh, yeah, Logan's garbage. Like, here's the crazy thing. When I obviously, but like at the time when I first read the original trilogy, I was younger, right? Maybe a late teenager, I forget. But I remember thinking like, oh, there's a reason. There's an excuse. Like Logan's just been through like a lot. Then I reread Country. I'm like, well, like Logan has to like take care of his adopted kids. Like, come on, right? And now when I read Made a Monster, I'm like, Logan's just a piece of shit. I'm sorry. I know.
he just got better at holding it back. That's all.
No, yeah, at that time.
I mean,
but here
I think
he's
he did become better, but
yeah,
he
here
also is.
he's just like oof, oof, oof. But in that case, folks, let's talk a little bit more in depth about our character spot. And the person that we're gonna shine a spotlight on is the father, the progenitor of the son of Rattleneck, which at this point is Rattleneck. Boys,
What?
because we didn't have another name for him. I thought we had another name for him, but it's just Rattleneck. Sorry.
Behold, the father of the son
Of
of
Rattleneck.
Rattleneck.
Exactly. That's why I was like, wait a minute, we don't have a different name. Sorry, shit.
That's so absurd. I fucking love it. I'm sorry. I love it. That's good. Oh, yeah, Rattleneck. We get a little bit more about Rattleneck than we do about other characters for character spots, to be fair. We get a little bit from Shivers in Best of Cole.
Oh yeah, tell us.
We mostly get, the results of this chapter, Rattleneck's probably been, oh, here's your son, by the way.
It's just some, by the way, nailed to a standard.
Yeah, it's like,
Jesus Christ.
Can you imagine being Bethard back on that
Oh
trip
my
back
God.
to the meeting room?
Oh my God.
Oh, by the way, that whole son thing, yeah, it's not happening.
It's not happening, folks.
Sorry, I know I promised the whole peace thing, but it's just not happening today. Sorry.
Oh boy.
That's a bad meeting.
Can you imagine that? Like you had to tell a father, "Hey, so I know you wanted your son back in One Piece. So like how married are you to the idea of him being together in One Piece? Like what does that look like to you? Let's talk your use cases, KPIs. Yeah, blah 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 blah."
I think the thing about Rattleneck that is interesting for me is the fact that he, we always forget about Shivers and that they're related, right? That's his son. It's kind of a weird thing to think about.
Right.
But I think that a huge part of it is he is the vessel that the character's actions are directly affected, which cascade into everything else. And in terms of the character work in our stories that we have for the first law, and I think that is so, like, this is, like you said, the tipping point, the watershed moment. Rattleneck, the poor bastard, he got blue balled with hope. This is Bethod and Logan Ninefingers are talking about. He has no hope. He goes to Bethod because he's desperate to see his son. He's pissed off. Give him my son. I'm not going to negotiate. Bethod goes, "Oh man, hey, we're good. I'll give you your son. Don't worry about it. We'll call it quits. You know I can beat you. This is called good." And
I was like, "Yeah, thank you, God. Oh my God."
Yeah, and then he gets fucked, and then he gets fucked again, and then he goes home and drinks himself to death because he couldn't save his baby boy.
And that's the crazy thing.
Depressing.
We need to talk
It's
about
extremely depressing when you put it that way.
Jesus Christ. No, but Harrison's not wrong though, because it's talked about, right? Like,
Shivers talks about it. Yeah.
Shivers talked about it, and I feel like somebody else.
Yeah,
I think
Shivers is very much affected from it as well. Like you said,
Mhm.
Harrison, like the decisions just cascade downhill. Like Shivers is always most of his personality when we meet him, at least as a POV character, is that he's just not enough. He doesn't feel like he's enough for anything because obviously, Big Brother that got dismembered was always going to be better.
Yeah, he got honestly. Shivers
he's
got
always gonna be the
Shivers.
best.
Shivers
To
got
be fair,
fair
you know
here.
what? From the way Shivers talks about him, he sounds like a piece of shit.
Piece of shit. Fuck him.
I
Fuck him.
don't really care that much that he was the one that got dismembered.
I care more about Rattleneck. I feel bad for
the
him.
act is bad, obviously, but I don't really care about him.
Also, Rattleneck's son is probably a boy. Yeah, exactly. I was just saying, Rattleneck's son is actually probably pretty young, relatively speaking.
Oh, shut up with your revisionist history. What are you,
Anyways.
Malcolm Gladwell? Ugh.
Anyways, I think that
I feel like George is the only one that got that.
is Rattleneck.
Hey.
Rattleneck is super tragic. He doesn't get talked about enough. That's the watershed moment. He is the first person to felt consequences, and it completely breaks him. We can talk all we want about psychologically,
Mm.
how Bethod has this event changes him. He feels like he only has one path. Obviously, his wife dies later at some point. He probably feels like, oh, I have to keep the North united. Every step I take has to be worth it. It just takes him to the more extreme. Logan doesn't seem to change at all until the first series, but who gets affected right now? Rattleneck.
Honestly, you're Harrison. Ooh. I like this. I
Rattleneck
will.
is absolutely tragic.
Yeah, I will say. I don't think. I don't think it necessarily affects the dynamics at that moment right there. I will say. I think once Logan does that, I think right there from then and there, Bethel's like, I gotta get rid of this motherfucker. I gotta get rid of him somehow, some way.
Yeah, but it takes him 5 years.
Right. It is 5 years at the very least, right?
Yeah,
ish.
that's
Because
weird.
here's the thing,
I feel like,
you have to think about it.
but I feel like
He has to
this,
fight Black Tao.
yeah. But Rattleneck says that he has all these people on his side. This is probably like a coalition against Bethel. Let's say Bethel has like 40% of the North under his control,
Mhm.
and then this other 40% comes to fight him. And this was the one chance to make that not happen. So now he's just like, right, okay, now I need to lock in, and maybe, of course, Logan becomes more useful after that because he's going to lead those charges that nobody else will
Sure.
and fight the sides.
Right, but we talked about like maybe this is the turning point where we see from Bethel's perspective in this chapter, he's looking for peace. He's looking just like, yo, I just want to end this right now.
Yeah, but I
just
think
wanna-
you might realize, like, when the promise that you just made and an official deal that you just made
right,
in
right.
front of all of those people, and then, oh
So,
yeah, by the way, your son's been
yes.
dismembered. I
So
think
George,
that might be a point where there's a big war.
yes. So George, I want to ask you personally. What do you think? So like, is it a case of like Betha going like, oh well, I guess I just have to continue to expand because at this point I have no choice, right?
I think
Or is it a matter of like nothing I do is right, even if I try to navigate these circumstances, it's gonna blow up in my face. So therefore, fuck it. And there is a difference. There is a difference between
Yeah,
those.
I do see what you mean.
You know what I mean? Like one of those is a straight, purely like for the land, right? For the clan, all this stuff. The other side of that is I recruit Logan. That's go for it. What were you gonna say?
So I think there's kind of, I can see where you're both coming from because Bethod is extremely practical, but I also agree with you, Jeff, where it sort of becomes right. It's now or nothing. It's you ride or die.
Mm-hmm.
So you, in the same way that Logan, becomes the Bloody Nine, like I said, theoretically, because that's the way that you have to survive in the environment, and that's the best way to be. Maybe that's sort of like a similar way that Bethel goes after this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I always feel like Joe's looking for mirrors, and we know that he's got a degree in psychology, so he knows about these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
Well put.
it's a crazy time. I mean, the fact that we see Logan in his early 20s, late 20s, whatever you want to call it, but it's the prime of the Bloody Nine, right? Whenever we see the Bloody Nine, the original trilogy, it's always in those spurts, right? Like we don't see it as like it's commonplace, but apparently during this time in Sharp Ends and Made a Monster, that's normal. That is normal. That's our show, everyone. We want to thank you all for listening and supporting this podcast. As you know, this is a passion project for the three of us, and your support means oh so much.
Join us next week as we have a special episode covering Sharp Ends.
And make sure to follow us on all of our social media, or send us an email at circletheworldpodcast@gmail.com.
And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts from. And please make sure to rate and review us. Thank you all again for listening.
Change my mind.